Okay, guys, welcome to Dave's LFC Chats. I've got the legend on again, Gareth Roberts from the Anfield Wrap. Gareth, how are you?
Well, Dave, struggling on, mate. It's a bit shit these times, isn't it? We all wish we were in the ground. We all wish we could cheer on our team, but we can't. So all we can do is get our permitted exercise and try and not catch COVID.
It's you know what, 2020 has been like the year that you tell your grandkids, you know, that type. I was alive in 2020. It's like 2000. It's way worse than 2001, I suppose, because it's worldwide pandemic. But it isn't over. That's the problem. 2021.
That's it. You don't know when it's going to be over, do you, mate? That's the thing.
No, and obviously we're talking about Liverpool, and Liverpool is a city as well. Actually, before we get into the Liverpool FC stuff, I seen you did a video the other day on the Anfield Wrap. I was very interested in it. It was like a historical. You had, I presume it was a gimbal, and you were walking through the Docklands. I thought that was brilliant. What was the idea behind that, to do that? Just something different?
Yeah, just something different, really, because, we're always trying to do new stuff on the Anfield Wrap, and obviously it's really difficult. We're not doing stuff in person currently and things like that. And so, we were just a bit wary, really, that, everyone's watching stuff in like this in boxes. Even when you turn Sky on, it's all in boxes off Zoom or Skype. And we were just trying to, talk through, is there a way to do something where we're outside? Do you know what I mean? And me and Neil have been trying to do a preview once a week down on the front. Obviously it's safe to do stuff outside and keep your distance and all that. And, we're within the rules because it's work and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was just, is there anything else we can do? And I was just saying, I go out every day anyway and have a walk along the front. And then we were just talking about it, and we thought, well, there are a lot of people, obviously, who support Liverpool who can't be in Liverpool currently and are probably missing the place. So we just thought, could we do something where, you included, Dave. So, could we do something where we show off bits of the city, talk about, life, the Reds, where we're walking at the time or whatever. So it's just a bit of an idea that had been kicking about, and we just had to go. So we got a GoPro. I'd never used one before in my life, as may be evident when you're watching that video.
Brilliant. No, it's very good. It's actually very good.
Cheers, Dave.
It's National Geographic stuff, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's loads of stuff on the cutting room floor, believe me. But yeah, I ended up sort of having a chat with a couple of the lads who were fishing along the front on that day and stuff like that. And it was nice. It's nice to have any form of interaction at the moment, isn't it? Because, there's loads of people, including myself, who are spending a lot of time alone. So it's not ideal. So, yeah, just getting out and about. It's gone down really well as well. We just thought we'll make it, we'll put it out there and we'll see what happens. And yeah, people seem to have liked the format. So I think we'll be doing more. We're just talking about where else in the city we could do it. I think you said to me, as did others, could you do one wandering around Anfield? Yeah. So, we've got that on the list as something that we want to do. Other parts of the city as well, the parks and and things like that. So yeah, we'll keep doing it. And we'll see how it goes down and see how long we can keep it going.
No, it's brilliant. I mean, I was over there. The last time I was in Liverpool was October 19. It was for the Leicester City Milner last-minute penalty game.
Yeah, good game.
I actually got a ticket for the game, which was unbelievable. And the day before the game, I got the ticket. But like the likes of Hotel Tia, there's history there. You've got the Arcles, you've got the park across from this, the Cop. You've all these famous pubs that I'm sure, Sandon. You've got these pubs that even in themselves could write books. You could write books in these pubs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's so much that we're missing, isn't there, Dave? And that's the real shame about it. Even when, I was fortunate that I got back in the ground for the Wolves game. I was one of the lucky 2,000 that day, and even that was weird because A, of course, the ground was nowhere near full, but B, all of those things that you talk about, all of those, the pubs and home baked and mix shop, hat, scarf, and a badge, all of those things were closed.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of like, you realised how much, of your culture, of your life is currently missing. So it's all a big shame, isn't it? And I just think, we've just all got to crack on, keep on having ideas, keep on getting out there. I mean, that was my other thing with the video you mentioned, Dave, as well, just to sort of, if it could in any way help someone else was my thought. Because, I found it massive for me personally to get out and go for a walk. It's a really simple thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just doing that every day, totally transforms my mindset and how I feel. So I thought, well, if it works for me and I can encourage someone else to maybe do it, then all the better. And a few people have sent me nice messages saying, it made me get out and things like that, and I did feel better. So, because I'm sure you've seen it. Chris Kirkland's been getting out and about a lot, and
I have actually to do a video with him soon, Chris Kirkland.
Oh, really? He's a top fella.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Top lad. I was talking to him. Well, not talking to him, twittering him last week.
But he's doing like sort of 8 to 12 miles a day, I think, currently. And he's power walking that as well, which he'll do in no time with those big long legs.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
He's a big lad. But he's a good lad as well, Chris. And he's another one, look, he says the same, that, he wants to sort of spread the message. Get out there, don't sit on the couch feeling sorry for yourself. Get out there, see the outside, take in a bit of nature, look at the sea, look at the river, whatever it may be. All of it will make you feel better.
Do you know what it is as well? Never mind the COVID itself, which is bad enough. Nobody wants to get it, no matter what version you get. But mental health, I suppose, could even going down years down the line, maybe even 10 years down the line, could even be a bigger bloody problem.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the worry, because, I've had my struggles myself, and I know plenty of people who have, and it's just a difficult time, isn't it? We've had so much taken away from us. I mean, me and you were talking because we both love Liverpool, and Liverpool's a big part of our lives, and to have that suddenly, wiped off the board, if you like, and you're like, well, what are we doing with this time? For me as well, the Anfield Wrap is obviously a business that's around Liverpool. So, when there were no matches at all for that period, it was a real worry about, well, what happens to our jobs? What happens to our livelihoods? And thankfully, people have been really sound and stayed with us and that kind of thing. And we really appreciate that support. But yeah, there's loads of people who are struggling. I speak to, friends, family all the time, and I can hear it in the voice. I can see it in how they're acting. And, again, I've just been saying to them, just, get yourself out. And you hear people say, oh, it's cold, or I can't be bothered, or I'm tired, or whatever. And I'm like, well, just whatever your excuse is, just do it. Just go out. If it's raining, go out in the rain. If it's cold, go out in the cold. Just do half an hour and come back. Guarantee you, when you plop back down on that couch and you make yourself a cup of tea, you'll go, I'm glad I did that. Do you know what I mean? You just it just refreshes the mind a little bit, takes you away from the news cycle and all the rest of it.
No, you're right, absolutely. Dr. Roberts, thank you very much for that.
I don't know about that, mate.
But it is. It's so important. I know we're meant to be talking about Liverpool, but to be honest, it's Liverpool. It's just the world we're living in at the moment. And for you, especially you, John Gibbons, Neil Atkinson, all the lads and the girls at Anfield Wrap, you eat it, you live it, you breathe it, you wake up and you actually sleep it. I mean, I'm over here in Dublin. I love Liverpool, as you know, 80s, 90s, blah, blah, blah. I live at Leeds. I get slagged all over the place about it. But you live in Liverpool. And for you, no football, no crowd. Fellas slagged me the other day. I said to them, I'd go over to Liverpool to stand outside the ground, even if I hadn't got a ticket, just for the pre-match, the post-match crack. Never mind go into the bloody stadium. That's a bonus. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean, Dave, and it's massive. That is a massive part of football and how I consume football as well. And one of the things I struggle with now currently is that Liverpool aren't doing what we want them to do right now, and that obviously it looks like they're out the title race and everything else. But ordinarily, I would have gone to that game against Manchester City, and of course I was gutted with the result, and I would have been if it had been there as well. But would the result have been even the same result if there'd been 54,000 in? Well,
I don't think so.
And even Guardiola referenced that, didn't he? He said, he said, yes, we've broken that record now. Hadn't won there since 2003. He said, but we've got to come back and win now with fans here because he makes such a big difference. And I thought that was, gracious of him to say that, really, because, you can get a bit carried away with rivals at times. We all can, but it was nice of him to, to acknowledge that. And it's not for the first time with Guardiola as well. But the other thing about it is not just feeling your part or something and playing your part, being in the crowd, but afterwards as well, just being able to go for a pint and talk.
That's what I mean.
and sort of shake off the result a little bit. But
it's the whole package, isn't it? It's the whole package for me, anyway.
Mate. Absolutely, yeah, same for me, and I think it's the same for thousands of us. It's the way we've lived our lives for a long time. And look, I'm cracking on now, age-wise. I'm not going to be going to nightclubs or whatever.
Spring chicken, would you stop?
But you know what I mean? Like, the footy is where I socialise as well.
Yeah,
the footy is my nightclub.
Yeah.
And so I've had my nightclub taken away from me, and instead I'm reading everything about Liverpool, or I'm listening to Martin Tyler, when I'd rather be listening to my mates in the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Martin Tyler, don't mention his name on this channel. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to start talk now, a little few minutes about the Reds, actually. You haven't been able to get in very much this season.
I know, mate. I know. Not as much.
I say you missed that, do you?
Yeah, not as much as I would have liked. I mean, look, it makes a difference, doesn't it, to everything? We're talking about what a difference it makes to your life, but also, for us as well, producing the content, it makes a massive difference to that, because, you want to be celebrating the Reds being brilliant. And look, we've had a good run on that score, winning the league, winning the European Cup, winning the other trophies that we've won in recent times. But yeah, when you're not winning, or when it's going wrong, it's a bit like, and I think, more than ever, we're relying on the football to pick us up, aren't we, at the moment? I almost think, is that a reason why we've seen a bit of an extreme reaction to the fact that, Liverpool are still fourth, Liverpool are still in the Champions League, Liverpool can still, put a smile on our faces this season, and yet there's loads of doom and gloom. But I think, is the doom and gloom, further under the magnifying glass almost, because we're like, no, don't be shit now. We need you. We need you, Reds. This is our only get.
You can be shit when COVID's gone.
Yeah. After shit season, when we can get back in the ground and we can go to the pub.
It's and we couldn't. The other thing is, we go back last year when we won the league after 30 years. As you know, everyone knows, we couldn't really celebrate it properly, Gareth. You know what I mean? I mean, you can celebrate it. I seen the video you did out on the streets. I was over here drinking fucking champagne on a live stream. But you know what I'm saying? I was booked to go over. I had 3 nights booked, ready to roll.
I know that's the thing, isn't it? And I do wonder whether that's another thing, like, that's playing into the current funk that we're all in, and maybe even the players as well. Is that now. City have got that big lead, and they've got the gaming on and everything else, and so it would be like Devon Lock proportions if they collapse now and we were able to go and win it. So all of a sudden now you're thinking, well, we're not going to win it then, and then you start thinking about like what you're doing, and the party we could have had, the open top bus that we were meant to get, and all of those things, and now you think, well, realistically we're not going to get that now, are we? Because
no.
Klopp said whenever it happens, we're going to do it. I think
can't do it, Gareth. It can't be the same. It has to be the moment.
Exactly. But also, even if it was going to be delayed, it can't be delayed this much. And I think everyone knows that now, because when Klopp said what he said, I don't think he was expecting us still to be in a lockdown now. Do you know what I mean? And we had that chink of light as well, Dave, what I mentioned, where, we got the 2,000 back in the ground and the rates were starting to come down, and we thought, oh, we are, this is the end, finally, we're out of it. And then everything's turned on its head again, no fans in the ground again, rates go back up, lockdown again. And, there can't be anyone, football fan, football player, football manager, who hasn't been down at some point about all this shit.
I was talking to a friend of yours, I'm sure, James Pearce, recently, and he was telling me that he goes to the game, the home games, he'd be working, he'd be on his laptop, blah, 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 looking down. But he was honest and saying, he says, Dave, it's just not the same. I don't care, even though when I'm usually doing work. But Anfield, for me, when you've got your, 50,000, whatever it is now, I know I got stick on Twitter for saying Anfield is different than other grounds. The city is different for me than other cities. It literally energizes the players. I know every bloody club, the fans energize the players, but I think it's different with Liverpool. It's the 12th man, the Anfield Wrap, whatever you want to call it. I just don't think Liverpool have been right ever since I don't think Liverpool have been right since the very first lockdown, to be honest with you, Gareth. We got hammered by City last year. Remember, I know there was nobody in the ground. We got beaten by Arsenal, and we just never really, we got over the line in the end because we were so far ahead. But I don't think we were right. I just don't think mentally, maybe psychologically, winning the league was, the big pinnacle. I just don't know. I've no answers. You can call injuries to Van Dijk, injuries to Jota, VAR decisions, you can refereeing decisions. We can throw it all into a big Irish stew, store it around, and get a bit of a bowl and make our own, what we think. But I think it's a load of different things happening at once in a microcosm and hitting us at once like a bloody juggernaut. That's what it is.
No, you're right, David. It's just a shitstorm, isn't it? The perfect shitstorm. If there's such a thing, it's loads of factors all at once. And I think at the moment, obviously, Liverpool are the crisis club of choice for journalists, and they're all writing the think pieces, and they're all doing the little videos on the football shows and all the rest of it. Hopefully we can win a few games and it moves on to being someone else. But I've been reading those pieces and I've been seeing what they're saying, and I just think. Some of them, I feel with some of them that there's a few jumps in there. All of a sudden now it's like about the owners again, and they should have bought players. And I'm reading it thinking, well, they did buy players. They bought Jota, but he got injured. They bought Thiago, but then he was injured. He got injured at Everton, and we've now gone out and got the defenders. I get the criticism around the defenders. Obviously, you could have got them at the start of January. Quite understand why they waited till the end. But I feel like some of the criticism is just like, oh, well, Liverpool are the crisis club of choice, so let's bail in now. And, we've had really extreme stuff, haven't we, the last few days, worst champions ever and all this type of bullshit. And, mad comparisons to, I don't know, David Moyes and things like this. And it's like, well, hang on, David Moyes didn't win a title, though, did he? So that counts for something. Also, if you look at all the other factors, so, pandemic, injury crisis, no crowd, all of these things have come together to form that perfect shitstorm. And also, what you said there, Dave, it annoys me that there's and I know why it happens, but we shouldn't have to apologise for the fact that we think our crowd influences the players. If it does,
I was getting stick on Twitter saying, what are you talking about? I just, from the outside looking in, that's what it feels like. I don't know. I'm sure it is to you.
That I've had the same as well, and I just think there's this thing currently on Twitter, in particularly, which sometimes is best swerved. It's an awful place at times. But this thing, the Scousers are saying their crowd is more influential than any other. Well, has everyone forgotten about that Barcelona game now? Is that not a thing anymore? Because I remember when that happened, there was plenty of people, pundits, players, whatever you want, saying that's unbelievable, and that wouldn't have happened without that crowd.
Absolutely.
So it's still the same crowd.
Plenty of games. The Dortmund game.
There's loads of evidence. Like I understand if not so long ago you could throw brickbats at Liverpool and say, they're all living in the past. They're all romantics. They're going on about years ago when the Kop was brilliant and all this kind of stuff. But Klopp brought that back, and not only did he bring it back, he made it a central point of his management. So he was talking to us about it being right in the ground. He kicked off when everyone walked out against Crystal Palace. He thanked us for that, Origi late equaliser against West Brom, and got stick for that. But it was about a message to the crowd. And so he's managed the crowd to a point where we feel, again, that we are part of it, that we can influence it. And we've created some amazing atmospheres in there, including against Manchester City. I mean, you think about Robertson chasing that ball down, where it's like again and again and again. He's going from one end of the pitch to the other. He's fueled by the crowd. His adrenaline is through the roof because of the crowd. And then you compare that to now, no one in there, sterile environment, washing your hands every 2 seconds, wear a mask. It's not the same. It's like a glorified training session, but wearing the kit. So we're allowed to talk about that, and I don't think any of us should be put off by the fact that some blurts on Twitter might give us some shit, because it's an absolute fact. And Klopp has put the fans and the emotion at the centre of his management. So the other thing I would say is, when he's been bringing players in, or when he's been speaking to players, when he's been signing them, he'll be going to them, you should see that crowd, it'll lift you, almost Shankly-esque in that manner. He'll be using that as part of his sell. Now, City won't. Guardiola won't be going to his players saying the crowd will get behind you today, because it's not.
There'll be no one in the City ground.
But you know what I mean? Like they put things on the seats in City's ground or whatever, all of that bollocks. Like, we're allowed to say that we think, as Liverpool fans, we think our atmosphere is the best. And that's sound. There's nothing wrong with that. And if people want to come in and talk shit at us about that, well, that's their problem. It's not ours.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you're absolutely. I'm not being an apologist, of course, for them. Fuck them. But
Now you carry on, Dave.
but the other thing is, obviously, listen, we've still got to, as you said, we still have a good chance to get in top four. I think top four is an absolute must for this club. Yeah. And we still have an outside chance in the Champions League. As you say, Leipzig, get past Leipzig, you're in the quarters. Anything's possible in the Champions League, especially the way it is and formatted now. What do you think? What would you be happy with now going forward? Just get the team back. Jota's coming back as well, which is a big bonus.
Yeah, there's loads of little things. There's loads of little, there's loads of little specks of light, isn't there, Dave? So yeah, as you say, Jota's coming back. We all saw the influence he had before his injury. You got Kabak now, who I think Klopp's got to play sometime soon. Now let's have a look at him. Let's get him in the team. Let's get Henderson back into midfield, and let's go from there. So that's exciting as well. You got Keita coming back, who whatever you think about him can be influential in a football game. There's
absolutely. If he stays fit.
If he stays fit, is always the caveat with him. But there are things there to still get excited about. There have been flashes in recent performances. We played well at Tottenham. We played well against West Ham. We even played well, I thought, in flashes in the cup at Old Trafford, and we were slightly unlucky to end up going out there. So everything isn't bad. It's not. It doesn't have to always be black or white. There can be areas of grey. And for me, there have been areas of grey. So if Kabak can hit the ground running and we can get midfielders back into midfield in the rightful positions, all of a sudden Thiago, is playing with the lads that he expected to be playing with in the middle, and he might not think then that he has to go around tackling everyone, and he can concentrate on threading the through balls because that's what we bought him for. So. Yeah, I mean, what would I be happy with? I'd be happy with us getting in the Champions League, obviously. I think that's, as you say, that's the absolute minimum. We've got to do that for the finances of the club, for the status of the club and everything else in terms of retaining players, attracting players and all the rest of it. Ideally, though, I'd still like us to go for second. Let's push City as far as we can, because let's close the door on any of the other lads.
Especially Manchester United.
Especially Manchester United. You don't want to give them any kind of confidence boost that there's a sniff there for them next season. So get above them, finish above them. Chelsea might come now with Tuchel in charge as well. They're only a point behind us. So let's put all these other lads to bed, finish second, and then we can announce at the end of the season then it's still between us and Manchester City. You boys are still a way behind. I mean, that's what I've been saying all the way through this as well, Dave, is that there's lots of talk about United having a challenge for the league and blah, 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 and Everton even being up there at one point and things like that. For Everton and Manchester United to be anywhere near Liverpool, our level has dropped off massively compared to where we were.
So, and we're still thereabouts with them, and their level is just
exactly down. So they're supposedly having some great season. We're having a shit season by our recent standards. And we're still shoulder to shoulder with them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Why are they celebrating that? Because realistically, if we were at the pace we were last season with the same group of players, pretty much, we'd be out of sight. But obviously, we know the score with the centre halves. We know the score with the players we've had to put in at centre half and everything else. That would test any club in the world.
Yeah.
And I hate the sort of some journalism we get around football these days. I just think it's so crass, and it's so, get the manager out then, and sell all the players now then. You know what I mean? And it's so knee-jerk. Do you know what I mean? And literally, we still are champions, until someone else wins it. We are champions now, and already it's, he's done now, and he's done, and he needs to buy this, that, and the other, and all this. And it's like, just all settle down a bit. I don't think Liverpool will win it. Don't get me wrong, but I do think
a strong finish. I think important, isn't it?
Finish. And also, I think there can still be twists and turns for other clubs. So I'm interested to see how United get on with Europa League football. Do you know what I mean?
I keep reminding them Europa League football
Thursday night. Do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And even City. Look, City have been a strange club when they've got Champions League football on the agenda. That seems to affect them mentally at times. It might not this season, but equally it might. Other clubs might start suffering injuries. So there are loads of twists and turns which we cannot possibly see. So let's not, let's just keep our counsel for now and see what happens and stay behind the boys.
Yeah, as I say, I'd be happy with just a few performances, get into the top four. Second would be lovely, but to be honest,
Yeah.
this top four, as I say, is inevitable. You just have to get it for the club, for the finances, for the, as you said, stature of the club, the history of the club, attracting players. It's so important, and a good run in the Champions League. You never know, number 7 might be on. You just know it's crazy. Anything's possible in that Champions League.
Anything is possible, Dave. Who knows? I mean, look, you get past Leipzig, you're in the quarterfinals, aren't you? And so it's like, well, okay, what happens now then? And look, as I say, we don't know how Kabak will do. We don't know whether he'll hit the ground running or whether he'll be, another Cavani. We'll have to one for the kids there, but we just have to wait and see, won't we, Dave? I mean, stranger things have happened at sea and all that. I mean, who would have said we'd win it in 2005? So, you can't rule it out. Currently, you would say it's not likely because Liverpool have been struggling to form, but the one thing I'm clinging to, and maybe it's just me, but it's my little theory and I'm sticking to it, is that after Sunday, I kind of feel, hopefully, that the pressure will be off them a little bit because the title's gone. Yeah. So you can almost say, okay, boys, let's consolidate now. Let's get back to the football that we were playing. Relax. Because I kind of feel like they've been in their own heads a little bit. The stuff with Alisson where Klopp was saying he'd come off the pitch and he was like, not in this game, not in this game. And it's like, he must have built that game up so massively into his head that it was actually, affecting his decision making on the day. Yeah. And so they need to all collectively relax, including the manager. The manager's looked a bit fraught. He needs to stop kicking off on.
He's got a bit rattled, hasn't he, in the last few games, which is unusual. Even the Burnley game, he ran after Deutsch down the tunnel. Remember that?
Yeah. All those little things, like, we love him, and of course you do. But like I said before, though, all of this situation, throw in the wider world and then the football world on top of that. I think it will be testing everyone at different times, and look, maybe Klopp's had a bit of a rough time. Like, it happens. Yeah. But I wouldn't want anyone else managing the club. You know what I mean? Any of that talk's absolutely ridiculous.
Rubbish. Even FSG, to be honest, I think they've done a very good job, considering where we were like 10 years ago. People forget where we were 10 years ago.
Well, we were talking about it before, funnily enough, on one of the shows. We were talking about what are the worst games you've been to, and obviously you've only got a second to answer, so you've got to think of something off the top of your head. And the first thing that came to my mind, Blackpool.
Charlie Adams.
Blackpool beating us at Anfield when we were under Hodgson.
Was it?
And it was like, how did that ever happen? And that was absolutely shit. Like, that's a crisis. That's a horrible time to be a Liverpool fan. This. We wanted us to retain the title, but we've had much worse times. So, yeah, we've just all got to sort of include, like I say, including the manager, include the players, just dial it down a bit. Remember what we're all about. And, we've still got the top scorer in the Premier League on our books. Yeah. We still got a front three that, despite all the obituaries, I think is still a test for anyone defensively. So, we'll see, mate, is what I would say. But, the picture would look very different, wouldn't it, if we beat Leicester at the weekend, if we beat Leipzig and then we win the derby. 3 wins on the spin, and all of a sudden there wouldn't be any crisis talk then.
Yeah, listen, we've been spoiled. We've been spoiled the last 2-3 seasons. And I think because we were so spoiled, it's like being in a top restaurant, being given all the top food, and some guy comes out with a corn on the cob or something, and you're like, what the hell is that? I don't want that. I want my steak, baby. Well done. But you know what I mean? We've been spoiled rotten. Yeah. And listen, I'll be a Liverpool fan the rest of my life. You will, no matter what happens. But I just like a nice, strong finish to the season. Something to give us a bit of cheer through these crazy, crazy COVID times. And that's all I want. That's all.
Absolutely. And look, like I say, there's still loads of opportunity for these Reds to put smiles on our faces. It's not all about, winning the league at the end of the season. Of course, that's the ultimate goal. We've done it after 30 years and it was fantastic. We'd love to do it again and get even closer to Manchester United, all of that. But, they can still put a smile on your face week by week. I'd love to beat Leipzig, Leicester, Everton, all the rest of it. And on each of those occasions, if that happens, I'll be able to do me get in. I'll have a smile on my face, and I will enjoy that moment. And it's not all about the end goal. There are weekly goals as well. I think as well. You think about 13-14 under Brendan. if you think about the back end of the season before, all of a sudden we started playing good football, didn't we? And we were scoring goals and we were battering sides. I think we went to Newcastle and battered them, and Sturridge and Coutinho were linking well and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the belief went up, didn't it? And you were like, aye, we could do something here. And then the following season, so that back end of that season, we got momentum that took us into the following season.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can do something similar with this one. So, as you say, get top 4 boxed off. Hopefully have a run in the Champions League, see where it takes us. But also, get ready, get boxed off, get in the right place again to start the next campaign as well and be up there then. Because the thing for me with Liverpool that I've always wanted in all these strange years we've had of supporting them after the periods of dominance before that, I just wanted us to be there or thereabouts, challenging, always thereabouts, ready to pounce. I've said this loads of times on content, so sorry for repeating it if people have heard me say it before, but when Leicester won the league, that was so annoying for me because I just thought, well, where are we? Why are we so far back? We should be there ready to pounce for seasons like this where everyone else is shite and all of a sudden, the points total required to win it is low. We should be there, and we weren't there. So, and in fact, it ended up we didn't win it that way. We won it by winning
blowing everybody away.
99 points in the Premier League, unbelievable.
And the season before that, remember,
97.
was it 97 points and the Champions League?
Yeah.
And the season before that, a Champions League final as well.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm very surprised to see, even from the extremes of football media and daft opposition fans and whatever else, I'm surprised to see anyone writing this group off over anything because, they've come back from losing a Champions League final to winning another one. They've come back from 97 points not being enough to win the league, but it being enough in any other fucking season to getting an even higher total and winning the thing.
Unbelievable.
So, that is some level that they've been operating at for 2-3 years. And if there's a bit of a, if you have to go backwards again to go forward again, well, fine, boys. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to pile on. We don't have to get the pitchforks out. Like you say with FSG as well, look, they've made mistakes. They've made mistakes while they've been here. There was the anniversary the other day of when we all walked out over the £77 tickets against Sunderland and that kind of thing. There've been other moments as well. They've been a bit tight at times.
The furlough thing, you made a mistake.
The furlough thing, that was daft and that was a wrong decision. But at least he turned it around and eventually made the right decision. So look, I get that people will be critical and it's fine for them to be critical. But I just think be fair with your criticism as well. Like, it's not all being bad. We won the league. Do you know what I mean? We got Jurgen Klopp. They played a part in that. They played a part in Van Dijk coming to the club. All of those things. You can't just go the uniformly shit or the uniformly brilliant. There's been bits of both. And the other thing when, like there's accounts and all kinds, isn't there, on Twitter who are dedicated to getting them out and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, who do you want in? Like, is there a plan for who you want in, or is it just at all costs get them out? And then what? What's the plan then?
Yeah.
Like,
they want these billionaire Arabs in from, oil money or something like that. I mean, then they're slagging City for the same reason. I mean, it's absolute bullshit,
Yeah. I mean, footy does make a hypocrite of all of us at some point, but yeah, it is a bit mad. And also, I actually think that, we've got FSG in our hands, but it feels like they're quite accountable. They do listen to what's going on. They do listen to the noise, if you like. You think about the £77 thing. They could have just dug their heels in and said, we're the owners, tough shit. That's what we're charging. But instead, they looked at it and went, no, we don't want this. Let's listen to the fans. They turn it around. Same with the furlough thing. And look, even with the centre halves, like as I said before, I think it's more than fair to be saying, why wasn't there someone there 1st of January ready to go? Was it penny pinching? But also, Dave, I don't know, and neither do you. Like, were they trying to buy someone then? But the money they were quoted was too much. Were they trying to get Kabak? But the deal then was was it all part of the poker game that they had to wait to the end? We're filling in the gaps sometimes, aren't we? And I just think you can't just fill in the gaps with your thoughts on an ownership group because you don't like them, and then go, okay, well, fuck them then. Do you know, like how many people who were calling for them to be out have done all the maths around it?
Because they're probably rival fans, probably Man United and Everton fans.
But, I don't support the owners. I'm not, I don't support FSG. I support Liverpool. And I'm kind of sort of like not that interested in the owners. Like, the owners should be in the background, like,
Yeah,
Bill
exactly.
Shankly once talked
Yeah.
about. They should sign the checks and we should crack on. And there is an argument to say they haven't signed enough checks. But equally, in recent times. But equally, though, right now we're in a pandemic. The revenues are being affected across football, and we can't just say, "Oh, well, that's bollocks. I wanted, whoever." You've got to recognise that that's an issue.
As you say, football now has changed in the last 15, 20 years. It's a business now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like that, but it is a business, and we're a well-run business. I mean, we're well-run, Gary. We don't want to go in trouble financially. I don't think we will with them at the helm run into problems financially, but I think we'll leave it there. That was absolutely brilliant.
Cheers, Dave.
Gareth Roberts, the Anfield. I enjoyed that. Thank
Good,
you very
mate.
much for coming
Good
on.
to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, pity. It was a year ago. You were here over in Dublin, over in Ireland. Remember?
Yeah.
For the Anfield Wrap tour. You must miss those tours.
Oh, mate, massively so. I mean, we had all kinds planned pre-COVID, of course. We were planning on going to Canada, to America, to Ireland again. I mean, we wanted to have a series of big parties celebrating the fact that we were champions after 30 years. And then, the rug was pulled away by the pandemic. But listen, whenever we can, we'll be doing it again. Don't worry about that, mate. We love Dublin, we love Belfast, we love Cork. We want to come back to all of those places and do it all again because let's be honest, we'll all be desperate for a bevy, won't we, when it happens?
And if anybody listening ever wants to go to an Anfield Wrap live show, it is absolutely top notch. I've been at a few of them, few beers, listening and talking about the Reds, and you meet all Liverpool fans there, and it's absolutely brilliant. Gareth Roberts, I enjoyed that. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Cheers, Dave.